What's good? Welcome to First String Podcast. On today's episode of First String Podcast, we have head coach from the DC Defenders, Reggie Barlow, joining us. We also have the offensive coordinator joining us today, Mr. Fred. I'm not going to say his last name just yet because you know me. I'm going to butcher that name. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the results from the NHL Game 7, the best words that come to mind when we're talking about sports, Game 7. And also, we're going to talk about a 16-year-old being just on the cusp of making the Olympics. I hope you guys are ready because we are. Let's go.
Yeah. First String Podcast. Yeah. Too Danny. Dre on the beat. You know. Yeah. What's your favorite squad? Tell me who you going with. First String Podcast, yeah, we keep it lit. We got the latest updates, we don't pump fake. Like, comment, share, we don't care, feel free to hate. We got great guests, join us, you should chime in. Houdini on the intro for the time being. Lady A, representing Washington. Pick Washington, everything Washington. Aunt Mo coming out of Dallas, you know the business. Said, them Georgia Bulldogs ain't quitting. Yeah, if you ain't watching sports, you ain't living. About to get my mattress Mac on, about to bet a million. Let's talk about it. We all grown and cool, we can talk about it. Before we hit the news, we gon' talk about it. Oh, you wanna bet? Let's pop a bottle bow. Yeah.
Welcome back to First String Podcast. Do not forget to like, subscribe to First String Podcast. Give us that good thumbs up. Hit the bell to enable alert for new content just like this. The most important part about this whole thing is that you tell a friend to tell a friend about First String Podcast. That's what we really, really do appreciate. There's a couple of other things that we do appreciate, like I do appreciate my co-hosts, and I'm going to bring them in right now, okay? Let's start off with my guy, Sid. How are you, Sid? Are you there? Are you there?
AT&T.
Oh, AT&T, okay. Okay, Sid.
Hold on. Let me fix it. Let me back out for a second.
We see the fan moving. Hold, before you back out, let's do this because tomorrow's a big day. It's a very, very important day, right, Sid? Let's bring in HR and say happy birthday to HR tomorrow. How are you?
Thank you. I'm wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You know, it's such an honor to receive these birthday wishes from you guys.
Okay. Yeah, Sid, you go ahead and do what you got to do right now. Ant's coming in hot. Okay, Ant's coming in hot. We do have Coach Barlow. Did we get that fixed? I don't know. Coach Barlow, are you there? Let's see. Coach Barlow.
Yes.
Okay. We do have Coach Barlow. So,
Yeah.
Coach, we really do appreciate you coming back. I said we just pretty much going to have football talk today, and we got your OC with us. So, I mean, we're ready to be schooled. We're ready to be schooled in what it takes to build winners and what you guys look for in traits and personnel like that. So we're ready to go to school with just good football coaching. So let's bring in the OC for the DC Defender, Fred. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hello.
We're doing awesome. We're doing really, really well. Looks like Sid is back, so let's bring him back right now. There you go. Hold on. Wait, that was me. There we go, Sid. My bad.
All right.
So I put into the rundown. We're just going to have a little football conversation. But before we get there, let's say hello to everyone in the chat. And then also we have the question of the month for you, Coach Fred. All right. So Bruce Glass is here. He was first in the building. And Lady A said, what's good, Bruce? She uses my word.
That's not my lingo.
Yeah. All right. John Gray said, he says, I have arrived. And that's when we start the show when he arrives. Mike Young is in the building as well. Garage said to you, happy birthday, Lady Antoinette. And then Bruce said, birthday, Lady A.
Thank you.
And then John apparently knows. He says, that's my man, Coach Fred. So that's my man. So, and then good evening, Al, our fifth member, is
In Mexico.
He's enjoying himself. Yeah, he's all the way in Mexico, so he jumped into the
Understand.
chat. Right. So, Coach, Ant's not here to get this whole thing fired up, but I'm pretty sure he's listening. So, the question of the month goes to you. Coach Barlow answered this before. Your top 5 running backs of all time, please, in any kind of order, just your top 5 running backs.
That's to me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, I think are you talking about running backs of all? I mean, NFL running backs?
NFL, your top 5 NFL running backs.
I would think most people would probably say Jim Brown, but I'm a little different. I'm old, but I'm not old enough to see him play. I'm a big Gale Sayers fan. Gale Sayers and Walter Payton are my top 2 guys. I got to see them both play, and I think they're phenomenal. But, Jim Brown's right up there. Obviously, I mean, his stats are phenomenal. After that, it gets cloudy. I got to meet Earl Campbell once. He gave me a signed ball, and he's a phenomenal player. Barry Sanders is phenomenal. But I also was a huge Marshall Faulk fan. I thought Marshall Faulk was really special. So, but Gale Sayers, he was something. He was something. So ever since I was a kid, when I first saw him and watched him, I always loved and admired him. Him and Roberto Clemente were my 2 favorite athletes. When I was growing up. So yeah, that would definitely be my my top running back.
Oh, well, I can't argue with your list. You mentioned a couple of people that was on my list. You actually admitted you had on there Marshall Faulk. I believe he was on Lady A's list, or was that Sayers? He was on somebody else's.
He was on mine.
He was on Lady A's. So I really do appreciate your list. And like we said, it's your top 5. It just starts the conversation. So we really do appreciate that. So let's get to it. All right. So, Coach Barlow, the last time you was on, someone asked you a question about not having, players come back like you do in the NFL, and you referred it to college, right? So, to both of you, my first question is this: what is that piece that you have to have? Like, we can't build until we find this on offense or part of your team. What position group players or whatever is it that you have to have as your concrete foundation for your teams, offensively or defensively, either way?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that question. Happy birthday to you, Miss Lady A. Hope you're enjoying it or have enjoyed
Thank
it.
you.
So happy birthday. But I think obviously everything starts with the quarterback position. So if you think about right tackle, left tackle, center, and quarterback, all right, if you're talking offense, and then of course you build skill guys, running back, and all that stuff. But if you look at all the teams that are successful and having a chance to compete for a championship, their quarterback is playing at a high level. And obviously you got to have those big guys up front, and it starts with the guys outside. But the center, and Kaiss can talk about this more, from a communication standpoint and all that type of stuff, identify stuff, making calls. Mike Mayetti, who's been a guy for us the last few years that have done that. So, offensively, that's kind of like what I would think. And then defensively is real similar. I mean, you talk about having edge rushers, having a solid guy in the middle, Mike Backer, that can communicate your calls and get people lined up. And then, of course, you always got to have, at least one guy that's a true legit cover guy, man cover guy that can, take away half of the field for you. So that's kind of like, my thoughts on that.
Okay, Coach Kaiss.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, obviously, Coach Barlow's right on point. I mean, you got to have a great quarterback, but if you can't protect that quarterback, he's not going to last long. All the ESPN shows you hear all the time now, they're talking about, is Joe Burrow is going to last? Is it because he's been getting beat up so much and it shows in his injuries? But no, he's 100%. Once you define your quarterback and you go from there, it's inside out, and it's always starts up front. It's the center and the tackles. Kind of our downfall. What happened this year? We got our center straight and everything, but we went through a bunch of tackles, and boy, it showed. You got to keep them clean. You got to keep them protected, and because I don't care how good your wide receivers and running backs are, and tight ends and everything else. If you you can't run block, if you can't pass block, if you can't protect him, you're not going to go very far. So you've got to have the upfront guys. Yeah.
Okay, we're a little bit out of order, so I'm gonna go Lady A next. Lady A.
Okay, so I want to say that to you, Coach Kaiss, we were rivals long time ago, and you didn't even know. While you were at Hampton University, I was at Norfolk State University, so I'm quite familiar with your work. I think we lost to you guys that year, but that's okay. But I do have a question. Obviously, we have it's the UFL, and it's not the NFL, and a lot of people aspire to go on to the NFL. So pretty much you guys are in recruiting season the entire time. Right now, it's full blown recruiting season. Can you both let us know kind of what you guys are looking for? Is it the next big thing, or just, what pieces are you looking for to put into the Defenders for next season?
Well, we kind of answered that before. I mean, just like what we just said, you got to make sure you have a quarterback, and you got to make sure you're really good up front. So, I mean, that's the top priority for us. That's where we're going to be. And it's not, if there's a plethora of players, it's never the big boys. It's never the upfront guys. It's hard to find a big guy, athletic, that's skilled, and, it's just difficult. So, yeah, you have to. But, because of, it is pro football and everybody's going to be good. But we're unlike the NFL. We change our players so much. So we really have to look for everything all the time. You don't know what we're going to lose. Last year we lost a lot. We lost a few offensive linemen. We lost 3 receivers. So it took a toll. We came back. We really had a new team. So, but yeah. So, personally, I mean, we will make our list of what our needs are. But offensively, yeah, we've got to secure our offensive line. We've got to make sure that we get back to where we were the year before. So, but it's hard to say. Some guys could go into the league and then only make it through camp and then get released and come back, and you just don't know. Even it's a great comparison to college, but at least in college, you got them for 3-4 years. Hopefully, not now with this, the way the portal is now. But when I was coaching in college, that's the way it was. We're here, it could be a 1 year and done. So I know that we started with a bunch of new players, and once we started getting going and we're happy, then you get injuries and stuff. So, you really got to have depth, and you really got to recruit just about every position.
All right, say it.
Okay,
Coach Barlow. Coach Barlow, did you want to answer that question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was kind of muzzled, so I'll stick with what Coach said. Obviously, our league is a transfer portal of the pros, right? You got guys that are trying to exit their way out, and rightfully so. Right, we want that for our players. We want that for our coaches, and I think like Kaiss and them, those guys know the joy in it is getting these new guys and forming their mind mentally like a Ty Scott, and seeing him grow and take ownership of what we did, and learn our system and do a good job. And there's other guys that did that. In defense, we had some guys that do the same thing with Conley, who just signed with the Cowboys, and Baker. So I think it's pretty cool to get new guys in and build that continuity in camp. And then, of course, see them take coaching and be good teammates, and then, achieve their goals.
All right. We got Antmo backstage. We're going to bring him in. Say it. It's your question, though.
Okay. You guys both kind of touched on what my question was here. Chemistry. What are you guys trying to do with the guys that you have, and the possibility guys bring in to keep chemistry or to build chemistry as soon as possible before the season starts, so they're flowing more together than them just, okay, I'm plugging you in here and there? What are you doing to help build chemistry?
Yeah, so, obviously right now, these guys are not technically getting paid and on the contract, so we can't really take up their time right now. As we get closer, we'll have Zoom calls. The coaches will communicate through text messages and that type of stuff, just making sure they're checking up on guys through group messages. And then we'll start having our Zoom meetings and, kind of connecting the new guys with the guys that we had. One of the things that was really different for us this year, our first year, everybody stayed in the hotel. All of our players stayed in the hotel. And, so the camaraderie was instant because everybody stayed together. They rode the bus together and all of that. But this time, everybody's out in the community and guys are going their own way after practice and all that stuff. So I have to do a better job of finding ways in which we've done it in college where we get all the guys together. We go bowling, we hang out, we cook out, we do other stuff. And, in the midst of training camp, with it being a new league this year, we didn't get a chance to do that. We've done it in the past. We did it with last year's team. So those are some of the things that we'll do once we, continue to build this team and bring new guys aboard.
All right, Ant, you want to get in there?
Yes, sir. So I was wondering, we all know football as well as in life, like there's more to being successful than winning and losing. When you go into a season under whatever circumstances that may be, whether you know that the roster may be overturned, what type of metrics did you all or do you typically put in place to say, you know what, regardless of if we win the big dance or not, what made this successful for you or even collectively?
Yeah, I'll start it. Obviously, we play this game to win. I think the coaches that we get and the players that we get, we always ask the question, how many of you guys have won championships in your life, whether it's little league, middle school, high school, college, pro, because we want to see that. That's important to us. The type of guys that we bring aboard our team, we want that to be a part of it. So it's always the win, right? And then you have your goals. Just like on offense, Coach Kaiss, they have their goals of what they want to reach. On defense, they have a set of goals of we don't want to give up this many points a game, this much rushing a game. And, every game have a life of its own. And then at the end of the year, you go back and you look at that stuff and you look at it and you see, okay, hey, you know what? There's some positives to take away from this. As much as our offense went through this year, we finished our last 2 games scoring 30-plus points, right? And that's with a bunch of different linemen and, just making it work, right? We didn't have an O-line coach at one point for like 14 days, which people don't really know about all that stuff. But so those things are things that you can take away. You do want to put pen to paper about all of the negative things, but you do want to be able to calculate the positive things that happen, right? And, like I mentioned on with us, scoring, we got better in pass offense this year, but we were a little off on run defense, which were really good last year. So there are some takeaways. We had 3 or 4 guys that have signed NFL contracts, which is always good. Liam Fortnall, Garyon, Baker has worked out with some folks, so we hope we'll get a few more. So there's definitely some positive things to take away, and we're just looking forward to building on that and getting better as we go.
Coach Fred?
I agree with Coach Barlow 100%. We don't have no OTAs, no summer 7-on-7, no nothing like that. So, it's difficult. But I think the reason we were having success we have, and Coach is not going to say this, about himself, but I will. You got to have a head coach who can lead men. And Coach Barlow is fantastic about relating to every race, every age group. He has just got a knack for relating to them and communicating with them. And our players have fun. They have fun. It's a lot of hard work. So it can't just be that. There's got to be some cut up time. There's got to be some to get that camaraderie. He does a fantastic job of that.
All right. Well,
hold on. Two things. I don't know if y'all got to the question of the month yet.
We did. I thought you was listening.
Hey, I was, the assignment was running over. But to one thing, Coach, Fred, if Emmitt Smith wasn't on your list, I don't respect it. And the second thing is, where are you from?
Baltimore.
Wow, I would have never guessed that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's got a southern drawl to me.
Everybody says that. Well, I lived in the South for so long.
Yep.
I went south and never went back. I love Baltimore. I grew up there. It was wonderful. Had some great times at Hampton, like Lady A said. But once I went down in the South, I was in Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi. We stayed. It was a blessing for me. Now, Lady A, if you don't mind me asking, who was the head coach at Norfolk when you were there? Was it Pete?
We had a couple, but yes, you said Pete. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yeah, Pete and I were good friends.
I can't remember who else was there because I had a couple friends that played on the team, and he's the only one I remember. But I do remember he wasn't there the entire time I was.
Yeah. He was.
I'm not a voice expert. But I watched Waterboy a few times. You sound like some of the guys off of that movie.
Okay, that's the first time I heard that one.
Right.
I'm pretty sure Coach Barlow gonna cut that one up and show that to the team.
Yeah, we're always making videos now. We're always doing that.
And he don't forget nothing.
Right. So there's.
See, I got
it
my
sounds
note
like you.
cards, Coach. So
It sounds like you guys have a quiet time, pretty much like it is right now in the NFL. This is a quiet time for the players to go on vacation and get their minds right before they come back. So my question is this: is as coaches, when you're away from the team, like what is the one thing that scares you to death about your team being away and not being able to have that? I mean, I know you guys can still text with them and things like that, but what is that thing that scares you guys to death as coaches when you're away from your team so long?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's building back the camaraderie again, right? We don't, like Coach Kaiss said, we don't have OTAs. We don't have an opportunity to have them in an off-season program. So we have to rely on, that's why character is so important. Work ethic is so important because now we have to rely on them being true pros. And that's what we try to talk to them about is like, are you a true pro in every form of essence of that? And that's mindset, that's working, that's discipline, that's, taking care of your body. And we use it a lot. Like you can't do it in public if you don't do it in private. So if you haven't been doing it in private training, spending time with the playbook and all that stuff, then you won't be able to do it when you get to us. And we play music because I do believe music is a connector. And Rod Wave and Kodak Black has a song called Get Ready. And it basically talks about you don't have to get ready if you're already ready. So
Ready, yep.
They relate to that. And we play that, right? We play that a lot. And, so we try to let that become part of the fiber from music.
All right.
Okay. Well, I have a question. A lot of people who watch the Defenders on TV may not know certain things about the environment when we're playing. Can you guys tell us the background behind the pre-game player speech when they're hyping up the crowd and everything? We may have talked about this the first season, with Coach Barlow, but can you guys give us some insight on that and how that began?
Yeah, well, first of all, I do believe, and I'm not, we all have eyes, right? So we do know St. Louis have a great fan base, and they show up and they're loud and they're proud, and they got an inside venue. With us, it's a little different. Obviously, we play outside, but we have an amazing venue and Audi Field. And I must admit, there's been games where I might have thought, man, there's not as many fans in here that I thought, but that didn't keep them from being extremely loud and being extremely in the game. So we certainly appreciate the energy in which they come to the game. They're knowledgeable fans. They know when to cheer. They know when to boo, right? So they're good fans. But I think it's a good it's good the league does it with all the teams. I think KJ did it for us last year, who had great energy, and he did a good job. And not to say I was surprised by Malik Fisher. He did it this year, but he's an extremely smart guy. He works extremely hard, really great teammate. And it was good to see him go out with his personality and give that energy to our fans to kind of set the tone for what we want it to be for the rest of the game.
All right, Coach Fred.
I agree with Coach Barlow. I mean, I can't tell you where that came from, but we have phenomenal fans. So That goes back to as well, and Coach Barlow said when we were in the hotel all together too, it gives you more time to get to know the player, the family, his children, or just what he likes, what he doesn't like, where he's from, because it's kind of like you have to speed the process up. You there's not like a long summer beforehand where you get to know for years. So that's an advantage we can have, or we had.
Okay. We got a question from our chat. It says, have any NFL teams, this is from John, our guy, Garage Gym Life. He says, have any NFL teams reached out for advice now that the NFL has changed their kickoff rules to match the UFLs?
Yeah, so I think with coaches that coach me, that I played for rather in the NFL, that's special teams coordinator right now, I've gotten calls about how did we manage that? How did we practice that? Was there any advantages from a schematic standpoint? So yeah, I mean, Green Bay, their special team coordinator, Rich Bisaccia, is outstanding, a really good mentor of mine. And we've kind of had the conversation about, the nuances of how to manage that and how to do it, which he's sharp. He's a smart guy. And he'll kill it, which he always does. So talk to Bonamago, who's out right now, but he's a special team coordinator, and talking about schematic stuff and trying to scheme that thing up. So yeah, and I'm sure these other coaches have as well had these conversations with some of the guys across the league.
All right, cool. Blink, it's on you.
I know, I'm good, man. The questions I have, he can't answer on camera, no way. Because
that's for the after the show.
I like stuff interesting. Like I'm thinking about design plays and stuff that they can do or they cannot do, or what they like to get do. I'm not trying to get nobody no inside information. That's why I said
right. They can't put any secrets out here now.
Yeah, Coach Barlow, you're gonna have to stick around this time after the show, because most of the time when the show ends, Coach Barlow will be gone. He'll be like, I gotta go cut some grass.
Well, that's if you want to talk about design of plays, I mean, you got the mad scientist right here, right? And then last week you had Shannon, who's really good at it. So those guys, blessed to work with them. We've worked together for a lot of years and understand each other, and we speak the same language. So what he shows you would be what I would be showing you. So yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. And one other thing that the UFL does is you call your plays. Do you have to worry about your plays being called, and then you go back and watch the TV show or the TV copy, and somebody getting a jump on you, so you got to adjust some things the way you call that play or things like that?
Yeah, I'll let Coach get that.
Yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's just about the tempo. When I watch the TV games trying to pick things up, you definitely can pick things up. There's no question about that. But when we're doing what we do, our tempo is so quick that they don't have time if they were watching it. With the delay, that doesn't bother me as much. So the audibles, yes, we have to have multiple ways of calling them. Because you're calling them out loud. I mean, I guarantee you, coaches talk in the league. Every league, they all talk. So, yeah, no doubt.
Ant, you got anything?
So, we all know that coaching is it can be like a thankless job sometimes, because either you're winning and you're getting the credit, or you're losing and they trying to get people out the door. Mm-hmm. How do you guys individually find the balance to do your job and do it well? And also, be able to decompress in a sense? Or have you struggled to find a balance in doing that? Because it seems like a lot of these coaches, sometimes they'll give everything up to be successful. And I'm, what right or wrong, whatever you got going on, that's your business. But it's how do you guys manage that though? This is my job. This is what I love to do, but I also have to think about everything else going on outside of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, for me, it's faith, right? It's family, and then it's football, right? And that's what we're based on. And when we are struggling, all right, it's not like we go to the word, because we've already been invested in the word. So that helps us get through it. It balances it out for us. There's all type of mental stuff that you can listen to on the internet. YouTube and all that stuff that also can help. But, I kind of have my approach. I think, I say to myself all the time, like, keep planting grass, don't worry about weeds, right? Weeds gonna grow. If you keep planting good grass, it'll eventually take over the weeds. So it's a process. It's a lot of development. There's a lot of things to learn. It's what drive me to get 50 guys and the coaches and try to get everybody on the same page and go out and win and have fun and all that stuff. But yeah, you can get lost up in it because losing stinks, man. I'm sitting. This here is on my counter or in my kitchen right now. Scores and this and that and things that I think we need to get better on and things that I know we'll get better on. So it's when you're driven to be a winner, man. You think about this stuff all the time.
Right.
But you do have to separate the who from the do sometime and get away from it. And I just got done fishing right a little while ago, something that I love to do. So those are some of the things. Coach Kaiss has things that he likes to do as well. So, all right, to calibrate that thing.
You said fishing. I thought Fred was about to take off. I thought he was about to go grab his reels and head to the lake. That's Fred's thing.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah. Okay,
I will say that though, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's a tough thing to do. I think we've been blessed because we win a lot. Our whole careers and our whole time together. I know, like, offensively, this was the worst season I've ever had. Scoring points wise, and we got 1,000 reasons why it happened that nobody wants to hear. So I just called just 2 days ago. I called our receiver coach, Coach Harris. You guys know he's, we're close, and told him, I said, man, you got to talk to me. You got to help me because I'm just not getting over this. I'm still, going back over it because it's still bothering me. And he knows how much I like the horses. And he said, just go to the track, take the day off. It's just just kind of trying to relax, and it just, I think he also had some good insight. He said, and the other time we have a bad game, which we don't typically have, but if we have a bad game, you have the next game, and you put your time into that and you fix it. Now I got to wait till, quite some time.
Next year. Yeah, you got to wait till next year. Lady A.
That's tough. So yeah.
So one thing I really appreciate about the UFL is that it gives a lot of people an opportunity that thought that they really didn't have one. There are people that were cut from the NFL or people that just feel like, where do I begin? How do I go into professional football? So with that said, it's kind of a two-parter. Where can they go to find out, how to try out the schedule? I know you guys tend to do that. I know in DC, in Dallas, there are a couple other locations. And then also what advice would you give to those people who want to try out for the UFL, coming in?
Well, there's going to be some awesome opportunities for these young men. There's at least 5 or 6 showcases that are going to take place. If you go to UFL.com and just click in the finder, the search engine for showcases, UFL showcases, they'll come up. And part of it is doing the homework, right? I have agents reaching out to me about, hey, are there any showcases? Well, if I'm an agent, I'm going to the website and you can find that, right? That takes no time. So finding which ones they want to go to, registering, and of course, being in shape. Like, you get a chance, right? You get a chance to come out there and show your stuff. There's coaches out there, there's GMs out there, and there's certain things that we want in an offensive lineman or a wide receiver or a DB. And maybe if you don't fit those things, it don't mean you can't make our team. You might be able to make somebody else's team. Or you may show us something that convinces us otherwise. Like, you know what? He's not as tall as we like, but this guy's shown us like he could be a really good player. So that's, just registering, going on UFL.com, looking up showcases. There's one in Houston. There's one in DC. There's one in St. Louis. There's one in Florida. I mean, we're gonna be like Garth Brooks or somebody on traveling around the country, looking for players like we're in concert. So that's what they have to do, and hopefully those guys will go and do that.
It looks like Lady A has put it into the chat right there for you,
There you
Coach.
go.
She's awesome like that. That's why she's my favorite co-host. Ant, you got a question?
No, sir.
No? Say it. You got anything?
I've been demoted. No, I'm good. Between last week and this week, they've answered a lot of my questions. You know, I like the defensive side of the ball. Anyway, no disrespect. No disrespect.
I got you.
So I like the defensive side of the ball personally.
I do have Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Say. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You good.
Oh, right. I do have a question before you guys go, and this is off of football real quick. So we had a 16-year-old from Maryland, went to Bullis, tried to qualify for the Olympics in the 400, right? Now, that's a grown man race. I'm not sure how you guys feel about track and field, but is this impressive to you guys or what? And he still has a shot. He didn't make the open 400 team, but he still has a shot at the 4x4 relay team. This young man is amazingly quick. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this story or not, but I mean, this guy, he's doing more at 16 than a lot of people are doing as adults.
Yeah, that was really good to see. I love track, right? I was a track runner. My son ran track at Coastal Carolina. Was a sprinter here over the last year or so. So definitely good for that young man. I can't remember his name, but you can see the young in his face out there with all those grown guys. And he held his own. And, I'm hopefully he's encouraged by, what he did this time right here and, get himself on the 4x4 team.
Yeah. Coach Fred.
No, I agree with him. I mean, it's impressive in any sport when you see somebody young like that. I was watching the other day I'm not a soccer fan. I'm not a huge soccer fan. I don't know the players and everything, but Spain was playing and they had a 16-year-old that started for them. I'm like, wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good.
And they're good.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all for joining us. You are more than welcome to stick around for the rest of the show if you would like. We're going to actually let's get this next question in before we let you guys go or before you decide to go. So we're going to ask this NFL question right now. With the MVP being awarded to quarterbacks here over the last however many years, I think you have to go back until like 2007 or something like that before you get a non-quarterback winning an MVP award. Should that MVP award just be a quarterback award now because of the way the league is? So let's get everybody's take on this right here. Or is it still the most valuable player award, or is it just a quarterback award now? Let's start with you, Coach Frank.
That's a tough one. I wouldn't like to see it just to be a quarterback award. I'd like to give them an opportunity. They are they make them to be the prize player, and like we said earlier, you got to have one to start off with. But I don't always believe it should have been. I think there were situations where there was players that were very deserving, and I'd like it to see more spread out. But that's something I wouldn't have control over.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if they are the true MVP, then they'll win it. They'll win the award, right? But if they're not, then somebody on their team or somebody from another team will probably win it. So I would be all for it just being like it is. And, there's been some guys who was MVPs over the years that wasn't quarterback. So it's obvious that could happen. So, yeah, I like to see it like it is.
So for me, Adrian Peterson, his comeback year when he ran for like almost 2,500 yards or something like that, it was ridiculous what he did. Truly won the MVP. But with the way that the league plays now, it's more passing. Running backs are pretty much forgotten in the league now. You don't see teams grounding and pounding you into submission, even though Baltimore may do it this year with King Henry back there and Lamar Jackson. But still, if you have a running back like a Derrick Henry and you have a quarterback like Lamar, do those two sort of cancel each other out? I'm asking everybody here, where now you take them both off of the list because they just canceled each other out, same team.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Todd Monken is an extremely intelligent football coach, and he will dissect you, and he will get and formation you to get what he need. And I'm just knowing that he's going to find a way to make sure both of those guys are viable options, and their running game will be better because of it.
You have to forgive you. He couldn't take it, Coach. You know, they came and ripped death from the light from. I don't even know what I want to say, but they stole it right out of his hands of Georgia, so he can't take it no more. He had to go off camera and cuss a little bit. But I will say this: I think that it's obvious that as sure as they change these rules to make the game more offensive and more entertaining for the end user, I believe that they absolutely would love nothing more than to make the quarterback the MVP as many times as they could allow it to happen. The reality is the more star quality you have at the quarterback position, the more attention you're going to get. You know, whether I like Ryan Dakota Prescott or not, he gets a lot of attention simply because he's the quarterback of America's team.
It's not America's team. Who took this vote?
Or when we talk about a Patrick Mahomes, you know, it's just few and far between that guys are going to be able to play a I won't say non-essential because I think all 11, 22 together, offense and defense, all matter. But something where you control the game every snap essentially is going to be hard for that person to have star power, you know, likability, all of those things that they look for. Quarterbacks typically are bred and taught to have. And so I think it just makes more sense for them to pick somebody like that. And then when you look at the other position players, you know, if it's a defensive end or something like that, they got to go break the sack record. They got to break some record for it to be more tangible for them to, you know, win an MVP in today's NFL, especially with it being a more offensively centered game. So
Pass happy.
Yeah, for sure.
Pass happy. Say it.
Yeah, I agree. I put the LT in the chat. LaDainian Thompson was the last running back to win the MVP. You know, 2006, there's been a quarterback every year, you know, at that point. Yes, the quarterback touches the ball the most. Yes. We got all that. But, you know, when you're making a 5-yard swing pass and that running back takes off 80 yards, you know, that wasn't a bomb. You know, that was all the running back, but those stats belong to the quarterback, you know. It's one of those things. I think that it works against everybody. It works against everybody else on the team who has to do more to be seen, to stand out, because the quarterback touches the ball every play when they're on offense. So, is it a quarterback award? Yeah. If you look at the last, if you look at the award, yes, it's a quarterback won every year. 2006 was LaDainian Thompson. 2000 was Graham Marshall. 98 was Terrell Davis. 97 was Barry Sanders. 93 was Emmett. And then, you know, you got Thurman Thomas in 91. But, you know,
I knew you were going to say that.
You know, I just thought the 91, you know, other than that, it's all quarterback.
I knew he was going to say this. I knew he was going to say if he touched the ball the most, the defender touched the ball on every play, they should be the MVP. Go ahead, Lady Ann.
I have an impact, though.
I feel like when it comes to this particular award, it is unfair to a degree that the quarterbacks are the favorites. We know this. This is, you know, across the board. I would never change it to a quarterback award, though. If that were the case, then you need to do the same for every other position out there. Just to make it fair. I do feel like, you know, we just see them more. When it comes to stats, yeah, they take advantage of the fact that the other teammates are helping the quarterback with those stats. They're making them look good. They're the leader of the team. So a lot of times the leader of the team, they get the reward and they also get the blame. You hear Ant all the time talking about Ryan Dakota Prescott. I'm not saying that he's an amazing quarterback or anything like that, but there are times I have definitely seen times where he was blamed for someone else's fault. the same with every other quarterback in the league.
You got video evidence?
There's lots of video evidence.
We got two coaches on here. When we asked the question of earlier is, what group of positions or whatever, they said they started off with the quarterback. So it is true. The quarterbacks get all the praise and they get a lot of the blame, right?
Right. But and see, that's the thing.
I think you got to
when
think
it comes
about
to other. Go ahead, Coach.
You have to think about this too, right? They, like you mentioned, throwing the ball out, a check down, or out something in the flat, but you got to think about sometimes sacks happen not of their own, right? Protection may not be all that.
Right.
Tip passes, drop passes,
Mm-hmm.
And the interception goes to the quarterback. So I think it's what, right? Once you think about it, percentages on throwing the ball, guy drops the ball, or they got some drops from third down. I mean, that goes on the quarterback as well. So it's what and what, but I mean, I guess it's good conversation, right? But yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say my final thoughts is this: is you could have an all-world wide receiver, and I can think of a place that has 1,000 lakes that has an all-world wide receiver that just signed a huge contract. He had a so-so quarterback, right? Had he not been hurt, could we have seen him be an MVP this year? If Mr. Jefferson wasn't hurt, could he have possibly wound up being the MVP? Because we all know that he only stops himself. No defense really stops him. That's for everybody. That's for everybody though. I mean, if y'all want to weigh in on that, on those thoughts, so no. All right, Ant.
No. I just wanted to, quarterback does matter, and I'll say it this way. If I could for a second take you guys back to my illustrious career as a flag football quarterback, I remember a season after I won the championship, I wasn't going to play, right? The team went 0-2. They begged me to come back. I come back. We lost the game. I threw it 40 yards on a line in the end zone. The guy drops the ball. But, we end up going undefeated after that, won a championship. So, I guess you guys are right. The quarterback really is the stopping point. I created all the plays. So, never mind. I take my argument back, What's the age requirement for you guys with the because I could show up in Houston in shape, ready to go.
All right. Love to see you there, man.
Okay. See you there. Hey, I'll be right on the sideline cheering for you, Ammo. I'm right on the sideline cheering for you. I can't wait no more.
I could just be a camaraderie guy. I'll just listen. Okay. As long as I got a check, I'll make sure everybody's feeling great. You know what I'm saying? I don't need much.
I have to shake my head because this flag football quarterback over here, I don't know what to say.
I'm just warming up my arm. That commercial was really about me.
John said this whole storyline talking about your flag football game has a little hot air in it. Has a little hot air in it.
I got witnesses.
Okay, say it. What's the next topic on our rundown here?
You're talking about the NHL finals, the game 7.
Yes, sir. Thank you for getting me there. All right, game 7. I don't know if you guys watch hockey or not, but the regular season NHL and playoff NHL are totally different, right? Playoff NHL is really amazing. And the best words in sports, no matter what sport you're playing, is game 7, because it truly comes down to everything that you have today, and there's really no tomorrow. And that's what we saw on Monday night. The Florida Panthers went up 3-0 on the Edmonton Oilers. And the Edmonton Oilers showed all the fight in the world because we thought we were going to have a short NBA series and a short NHL series. And Conor McDavid, Conor McDavid showed how great he is in the fight that he has as a pro, bringing the Oilers back into the fold and forcing the game 7. What did you guys think of game 7? Anyone can jump in.
I can't speak on it. I haven't been involved with watching much hockey, right? I guess I became a fan of the Vegas team a few years back when they ended up going to the finals. So, but I can't say that I have seen much of it this year.
Vegas Knights.
I thought it was amazing. I'm a hockey fan. I was rooting for Edmonton, Connor McDavid and Dreisen and Nurse and Hyman. They can play. I mean, they got a really good team. I've always loved hockey. My older sister and her boyfriend that became her husband, they were season tickets holders when we lived in Baltimore, and I was a young kid. And they were Baltimore had the AAA team for Pittsburgh, so I grew up a Penguin fan and Mario Lemieux and all of them. But I thought it was a great game. There's not game sevens are always the best, but there's no game seven like a hockey game seven, because you're right. One thing people don't realize, their salaries are not like NFL football. They're not like NBA, but they make it to the Stanley Cup. They dang near double their salary because they get so much of a bonus for each round. So they're out for blood. I mean, it's an amazing. So I didn't think, as much as Connor McDavid is a phenomenal player and probably the best player in hockey right now, but I didn't think he should have got the Conn Smythe, which is the most valuable player in the playoffs. I really thought that the Florida goaltending, hockey fans will tell you, if you got a really good goaltender in the playoffs, you can go a long way. That's what it's all about. And he stood up when he needed to. So, I will admit, I live in Nashville and my kids went to UT. So I was going back and forth, because the national baseball game was on at the same time. So I don't have multiple TVs in the house. I just kept flicking back and forth. So, of course, Tennessee won the championship, and that was the first time ever. So he does a great job. But no, I love playoff hockey. I may not see a game during the year, but when playoffs come around, I'm going to watch.
Well, Coach, we had Ole the goalie, so we knew that he stood on his head when Washington was in the Stanley Cup playoffs, in the Stanley Cup playoffs a few years back. But I don't think that at any time during that run he gave up 8 goals. And I do remember, they couldn't miss. It was like somebody enlarged the net behind their goalie, and Edmonton went on a run. And it just kept happening until finally Game 7, where they put a stop to it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Yeah.
Professional sports about making adjustments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the greatest position to be in is to be able to be the home team. I don't care what type of run you've been on, to be able to lay in your own bed, you know what I'm saying? Like, go through your own city. All those things make a difference to be on the home, a part of the home team, because I told them, I think we were watching Game 4, and I think Edmonton, they scored once, and I said, don't be surprised if, the Oilers come back and this goes 7. And then I think they scored like 2 more goals. That might have actually been Game 6 or 5.
It was Game 4. It was Game 4 because we thought it was going to be over. We was like, this is the night it's going to be over.
But my thing was, I know how good Edmonton is. They beat my Stars. You know what I'm saying? And for all intents and purposes, you couldn't tell me that we weren't going, But when you got the best player in hockey, I mean, hockey's just one of those sports. I've been watching it since I was a kid. It's just, I've seen great things. You know what I'm saying? I think we won in 2000. So, everything has to come together, and that momentum is a living, breathing thing, But, Florida, they did what they did. The Panthers, man, they were that was the team that they were saying, like, if we win, who do we want to play least? And they were like, well, we probably would rather play the Oilers, And as you can see, they end up, hoisting it. So definitely was a great series. Anytime that you can get that type of action, because nobody wants to see a sweep. I mean, come on now. We just saw what happened with the Dallas Mavericks, a gentleman 30, a gentleman sweep. You don't want to watch that. It's like, you're starting to eat popcorn and put the drinks away, but you don't have a chance to really enjoy the environment, So, glad to see that it could go 7. At that point, you just become a fan of the game itself, and it's not about, the winning and the losing. It's the adrenaline, of everything matters right now. Who's going to do what? So yeah, it was good to see, to be a fan, you know, and hopefully we can get there and get it done ourselves next year.
All right,
Man.
Lady A. Oh, go ahead.
Come on, Lady A. This gonna be real quick, Lady A. This ain't gonna take long. I'm from Georgia. I don't want to see Florida win nothing. Go ahead, Lady A.
I'm sure. But I write it down. I completely agree with Ant today.
You always be agreeing with me. Stop
No, not always.
Yes,
no,
you do.
No. But I feel like, you know, not just that it was a game 7, but just look at the way they were playing. You know, we were on the edge of our seats, as we should have been. Even at game 7, we've seen a game 7 where it was, you know, offsides. It was a little lopsided in the game, but no, this time it was real. I felt like you know, at the end of the game, I really felt like it was just, we were just like really on the edge of our seats. Nobody wanted to let the other one score. That's how it should have been. I too am a hockey fan. I'm a little soured because my team, the Caps, have not come back, but they weren't in it this year. But whatever. I do appreciate a good game, a good series. And kudos to Florida for everything that they've done. But I need my Caps to be there next year.
For all intents and purposes, Coach, I agree with you. I think, especially for defending a 2-1 lead for 2 periods alone, is, you know, that's impressive. Listen, the nerves are there. It's like, dude, you don't want to be the guy to make a mistake in that position.
Right.
They had great shots on goal. So it's like, to do what he did, like, I haven't seen nobody stand on their head like that since girls in my neighborhood when I was growing up. So that's it.
Lady A, go ahead, get it. Go ahead, get it, Lady A.
That's quite impressive, actually.
Fine.
Go ahead. Listen, the other thing, you say you're a defensive guy. They only allowed Connor McDavid 2 shots on goal. So they smothered him. They literally smothered him.
Did.
When you take the best player away out of the game, that's how you win it. That's how you win a series. That's how you win it. What do you think about that, Coach?
True. That's true.
Agree. Yeah.
Agree. All right. Well, there you have it. Coach agrees with us. Said, did we cover everything?
That's it.
That's it, and that's all. Coach Barlow, I think Said does have a couple of off-camera questions for you. Coach Fred, you're welcome to stay behind for a little bit too. This won't be long. I promise you it won't. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you to Coach Barlow and thank you, Coach Fred, for joining us today. We will be back with you guys on Saturday with more sports news and things like that. Look forward to seeing you. Shouts out to my son, United States Air Force. First String Podcast, second to none. Come get some. Tell them, say it.
Go dogs. Go dogs.
Hail.
Ready for your beats? Our first